What's up, everybody? It is Rustbeard, and I think that World of Warcraft is heading in the direction of the best version of itself that we have seen in quite a long time. Okay, so what I mean by that is, and then this is also going to be a lot of personal preference, of course, personal opinion. Granted, don't get me wrong, I have been playing for a very long time. I'm not a new WoW player by any stretch. However, I still would put myself into the category of a filthy casual for the sake of I just don't play nearly as much as I used to. I don't have the time. I have a full-time job. I have other responsibilities. I have tons of other stuff that I do. I'm currently working on 2 podcasts, which I'll probably plug at the end of this video, so you can check them out if you're interested in that kind of thing. I just don't have the time, okay? I also make music. I also make art. I also have a dog that I like to go spend time with and take on walks and all that kind of stuff. So I just don't have the time, all right? That being said, I feel like a good chunk of players are probably in the same boat as me, to the point where they really like playing the game, they really want to play the game, they just don't have a whole lot of time to do so. So what does that mean? Well, that means that the game has got to kind of cater a little bit more towards the casual players than it did back in the day, when you could sink hours and hours and hours and days and weeks and months into the game. One of the biggest steps in that direction, in my opinion, is the pushing away of the tons and tons of systems, the overload of systems that come into the game that anybody coming into the game fresh or returning to the game has to relearn in order to understand the new expansion coming out. I think the turning point in this, I want to say, was probably Mists of Pandaria, if I had to put it on anything. I don't remember there being a whole lot of new, crazy systems happening in Cataclysm, but Cataclysm is also the only expansion that I did not play full, when it was fresh, so I could be missing that one. But I know Pandaria brought in a lot of new stuff. They brought in the whole Timeless Isles thing, which has kind of become like a staple-ish, kind of a sandboxy thing that kind of has happened in each expansion since, something similar. There was also the flex dungeons and whatnot, or the flex groups that you can create, which was, in my opinion, really good for the game. I think that kind of laid the groundworks for the scaling and stuff like that for going into dungeons and raids, so love that. But there was also just a bunch of other stuff, and you know what, if you played those expansions, you know what I'm talking about. And then, of course, after that, we go into, World of Draenor, where they had the Garrison flop, they had, a ton of different, there was a lot. There was a lot going on in Warlords of Draenor. And then it keeps on going from there. And I think as time continued, it continued to build more and more. And there's just all these systems, all these things, all these currencies, all these just this stuff that's kind of oversaturating the shit out of the game. Whereas in Classic WoW, or at least up until Wrath of the Lich King, it was pretty cut and dry. Honestly, it really was. There was just there was a starting point, an ending point, and you just kind of do whatever you want to do in the middle of that, you can level if you want, you can go do professions and take your time. I mean, it was a time-consuming thing. It wasn't hard, but it was a time-consuming thing. The ability to do that in Classic WoW that they have now, the current Classic WoW, there's really no point in keeping the game that rudimentary. I get it. But at the same time, if you start just throwing systems, and we can even get into Battle for Azeroth being probably the most egregious of all of them, with the Island Expeditions and the Warfronts and the oh my god, there was just so much going on in Battle for Azeroth. I did play through it quite a bit, but holy shit, there was just so much stuff going on. I think now, bringing it into the current state of things with the War Within coming out, and probably, if I had to guess, the next 2 expansions as well, we're probably going to be seeing a world revamp slowly being brought over to the game over the course of the next 3 expansions. That's great. I love that, because we're going back to basics, but we're also not adding a shit ton of new features, new systems, new this, new that. The stuff that is coming that is new is welcome. It's great, it looks cool, it looks fun, but look at what they are. Account changes to make it more of a player-focused experience instead of a character-focused experience. I remember Ian said that in BlizzCon, like the warbands thing. It's not a new system thing that like you have to understand the mechanics of or whatever. It's just a thing that's there that creates an evergreen quality of life thing for the existing game. The game that you already play. But it just makes it more convenient for people like myself, casual players that just don't have the time to play as much as we wish we could, but we know it's not a priority, so we have to play with whatever we got. Talents, the hero talents, we're just giving a little bit more of a mini addition to a talent system that we already understand. We already know how talents work. The talent trees have been a very welcome feature to have come back into the game. Everyone's loved them. I think everyone's pretty much been on board with the talent trees coming back over the rendition that happened in Pandaria. Or maybe that happened in Cataclysm, I don't remember. Hero talents, I think, are great. I think that the hero talents bring into the game a new, fresh way to look at an existing thing. Evergreen. Something that can be implemented on throughout the game as we go forward. It's not some crazy new island expedition thing or war fronts that just did not hit. And I also want to make it perfectly clear, I think island expeditions would have been really fun if it wasn't just a consistent grind. You know, like, if there was a little bit more nuance to it, I think it probably would have been more fun. But again, if you add nuance to it, you're creating a system that is just oversaturated on top of the fact that there's already 30 new systems in the game that you got to learn anyway. So scrap it. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Dragon riding. Dragon riding is a feature that is evergreen. We can use dragon flying whenever, or dynamic flying as they're calling it, of course, because it's not just going to be dragons. So that's cool. I love dragon riding. I love dynamic flying. I think it's fun. I think it's so much faster, and I love the way that they have turned something that is pretty mundane that you just kind of used to with getting on a mount and going from point A to point B and adding a little bit more gameplay to the fact that you are just riding a mount. You know, it's not just a thing you click a button and you're just moving faster. You know, you actually do have to like control where you're going and all that kind of stuff, and I think that's pretty fun. And I know that other games have done it before. Don't get on me, all right? I know Guild Wars did it. I'm pretty sure Final Fantasy probably has something along those lines. I've never played Final Fantasy, but I've definitely heard people say that dragon riding is something that's similar to something that they have, and I'm pretty sure Guild Wars did the same thing. And I think Guild Wars did it really well as well. I play Guild Wars every now and then as well. My point is, evergreen, player-focused, not character-focused, systems that are just overall implemented into the game but don't require you to learn a whole new thing just to play a new experience, you know? And even the delves are awesome because they're in essence just dungeons that you can do solo seamlessly. And most players already understand how dungeons work. Okay, even if you're new to the MMO scene, I'm sure you can probably figure out how a dungeon works. And you can do them solo or with friends, which adds a whole nother dynamic. I know a lot of people like playing solo. I personally like playing with friends, but you can do both. You can do whatever you want. And it gives you kind of like a little glimpse into some side stories, some world building, and it's exactly what an MMO should have. You know what I mean? Just little things like that is great for the game. And I think that if we continue to go this route with World of Warcraft, we're going to be in a great state. And I don't think that I'll ever in my life feel the same way that I did when I was playing Classic or Vanilla or Burning Crusade or Wrath of the Lich King or even Pandaria. I don't think I'll ever feel that way again, personally. To each their own. Of course, if you think that the new stuff is that feeling for you, awesome, love that for you. But personally, I will never get that feeling again. I don't think. It's one of those things that's stuck in the nostalgia zone, and nostalgia feeds a lot of that feeling for me, you know. But I think we are in a very, very good direction. You know what I mean? I feel like we're going into a place where that feeling could be close. Maybe not quite as much as it was in the past, but I think that the direction the game is going is very, very, very positive, and I hope that we do continue to go in that direction. I hope that we release more content that is more evergreen, stuff that's not brand new systems all over the place. Let's just work on building this game that we already have to a degree where we enjoy playing the hell out of it the way that it is. You know what I mean? Like we did in vanilla. Vanilla was great, and we added Burning Crusade. What we added, like, new dungeons and a couple new races and stuff that was already familiar to us within the game, but new, you know, because we didn't have Blood Elves, we didn't have Dragoneye, we didn't have the Outlands and so forth. Same with Wrath of the Lich King, but we introduced a hero class, but it's still easy enough to digest that you can understand this is just a class, but starts a little bit stronger. I don't know. I think I've made my point, and I've been rambling a little bit too long now, so I will go ahead and finish this up. Thank you all for watching. I would like to know what you guys think. Do you guys think that the direction we're going with the World Soul Saga is a good one? Do you think it's terrible? I would like to have a discussion with y'all about it in the comments below, so please let me know. Also, I am currently working on 2 podcasts, 2 different podcasts with 2 different people. One is called On Thin Ice, and you can check that out in the description. I will leave a link to it. Just me and my buddy talking about some funny stuff with some icebreaker questions, and we usually go off the rails on it. Pretty fun, pretty laid back, pretty chill. So check that out if you're interested in that. Or if you are interested in heavy metal or horror movies or big movie franchises and whatnot, me and my other buddy started a podcast called From the Crypt. Also, the link is in the description. Please check it out if you're interested in that kind of stuff. The first episode of that one will be out on Friday, right after Thanksgiving this week. And we are talking about Five Nights at Freddy's, as well as a bunch of other stuff. We did talk about a bunch of stuff, but Five Nights at Freddy's was the main topic of that specific episode. So check it out if you're interested in all that. And also, if you like this video, make sure you give it a giant thumbs up. And please, 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 please sub to the channel. I really appreciate it, and it definitely helps me out quite a bit. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.